Good morning. Welcome to today's seminar. We're happy to have Charles Kaplan here, who is the Charles, of course, is the ChipGuide webmaster. He's also the chairman of the Museum of Gaming History, which ChipGuide is folded under to the MO. And Charles has been doing this for many years. Particularly, he's engaged with ChipGuide's 25th anniversary. And we have well over 332,000 images in ChipGuide. And Charles has been responsible for maturing Greg Soussan's gift to the club. With no further ado, Charles Kaplan.
Well, good morning. Great to see everybody here. Thank you for getting up early. I won't correct all the mistakes that Jim made. But one of the things he said was about my being here, and I'm going to tell you that there's no place I'd rather be than right here, right now. This is the biggest thrill that I get every year when I get the opportunity to speak about the ChipGuide to the collector organization. So there's a lot going on. We have a lot to talk about, and some things you may not know about, some things that are in development. I'd like to use you as a test audience to get your feedback on it, and let's get started. So, I missed one. I did my open remarks. We'll talk about the history of the ChipGuide. I always like to give a lot of credit to the administrators for all the hard work they do all year round, every day of the year, holidays included, 24/7 service. There are always administrators working on the submissions that you provide to us, so they deserve a lot of credit. I'll talk about what's new since the last time, and we will have some pop quizzes. So stay awake. You could possibly win something. And there will be a ChipGuide announcement, and I hope I leave enough time at the end to handle all your questions. And by the way, you have to thank the administrators again. The administrators have a breakfast once a year at 7 a.m. On Friday of the convention. So this year, since I'm speaking, I had to run out 15 minutes early in order to set up and be here. So you need to thank the administrators a little bit more for lending me to this seminar. So the ChipGuide started out, believe it or not, as a printed manual on the American riverboats, the casino chips of the American riverboats by Hall of Famer Greg Soussan. And he was the early internet guy in the hobby, and from that printed catalog created the original ChipGuide. Now, like the catalog, the original ChipGuide was what we call a static website. So every page of the website was already pre-configured, and you just called it up when you went to a casino. When Greg passed away, his family donated the ChipGuide to the Museum of Gaming History. And I have a history in IT. I started out as a programmer for CBS and then went to IBM. And I wanted to turn this into a dynamic website. That's a website that uses a database so that you could do a lot more stuff with it. And we will talk about that. And we talked about all that. So the original ChipGuide was just chips from the riverboats. And then he added some tribal casinos. And then he added Nevada $1 chips. And then he added Maryland chips. But it was only chips. When I got it, somebody said, "Can I put a token up there?" I said, "Yeah, we could do that. All we need to do is create categories." So we created the categories, chips and tokens. And they said, "Well, can we do things that aren't round?" Yeah, we could do things that, I never thought of it. We could do things that are not round, and we started doing lots of different things. So, and we expanded. So it went from round casino chips to things of any shape and type, all different categories. There are now over 50 different categories of collectibles that we have on the Chip Guide, and we are not just a few states in the United States. We are worldwide. Wherever there's a casino, we could have them on the Chip Guide. So that's been the major enhancements. And we don't sit still. I don't sit still. So I drew up a couple of slides. In green are some of the bigger highlights, but these are the things that we've been doing all these years to enhance the Chip Guide. And I will tell you the vast majority of this stuff, these ideas don't come from me, they come from you. Collectors will ask, and I said, "Yeah, that's a really good idea." And we get it done. So don't be shy. If you think something could be done better, let me know and we'll figure out a way to do it. And that was up till 2013. And then here are all the different things we've done up till date. And these are just the major things. So this is our 25th anniversary. The initial website went up in the year 2000 by Greg. And now we're 2025, and we thought this would be a good year to celebrate the 25th anniversary. And we're celebrating with merch. So if you're interested, we had an octagon made up, and a plaque, and a t-shirt. And I do have the octagons here. They're very colorful, very talented artists made this for us. And these will be your awards.
Chris is wearing a shirt.
Chris has got the t-shirt on. They're available in a bunch of different colors and sizes.
We did 25 plaques and they're almost all gone.
Right. The plaques, we made them available to administrators and the people who work on this stuff first, so there are very few left. If you want one, they're back at the museum table, all the way in the back of the show floor, by the exhibits. I was going to say by the bathrooms, but the exhibits sounded better. So here's the first pop quiz. After Nevada and California, which state in the United States has the most items on the Chip Guide? Wow. That went really fast. So Nevada is first with 87,000, California, and this was as of a couple of weeks ago, and New Jersey is third, and Bob, you get our first award. So what have we done lately? So we now have over 336,000 last I looked. We've processed over 116,000 different submissions from collectors. And the admins are hard at work improving the quality of the Chip Guide, adding more information and correcting errors. So you see, if you see something, say something. You know, this is all homegrown stuff. This is not commercial software. This is all stuff. And the administrators are members of the club. A lot of them are not very expert in one particular, they're just volunteers who want to help. And they don't know. So they do the best they can, but they don't always get it right. So I put an update button next to every casino entry, next to every item on the Chip Guide. You'll see an update button. If something doesn't look right, if you've got better information than we have or a better image, press the update button and let us know and we'll fix it. All those things go into a queue. They don't get lost. It may take a while sometimes to get them processed, but they'll get processed, as Roy knows, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Roy, and thank you for your patience. So, my biggest project this year, and hopefully none of you noticed it, is the new image library. The original image library that we got from Greg was based on state. So all the images for the casinos in the state went into a folder for that state. And that works out well for most states, but you have a state like California or Nevada, 87,000. The 87,000 items probably translates to over 100,000 images. When you try and work on something like that, it breaks a lot of software. If I need to go and download one image to do something to it, the software, it's called FTP software, can't handle that many items in one folder. So that was a problem. And it is a performance problem. If I have to search through 100,000 items to find the one that I want, it takes a long time. So what we did is we reorganized the image library. The new image library, things are organized by the ChipGuide number. So I take the first 3 digits of the ChipGuide number. So if something's 000001, it goes into folder 000. And if it starts with 1000, it goes into folder 001. That means I have as many as 2,000 images in one folder, and that's very, very manageable. But to make that happen, I pretty much had to revise or rewrite over 100 programs that make up the ChipGuide, because almost every program has something to do with images, and the images were in a new location. So at the least, I had to say it's not over here, it's over here. Oh, and it's not organized by state, it's organized by the ChipGuide number. So almost every program had to be revised. And I actually had a collector come to me yesterday and said, I use this and it's not working anymore. And when I went back to look at it, I missed one program. And all I had to do is put in the new information that's in the new image library, not the old image. I was looking in the old image library, and since it doesn't exist anymore, the program was stopping. So it was a huge effort, and the basic aim of it was, if it works right, nobody will notice. Okay, I changed 100 programs. I didn't want anybody to know that I did that. But there was some benefits. The original ChipGuide, the images were 158 pixels by 158 pixels, and then we expanded to 240 by 240. Okay, but the old images showed up smaller than the rest of the newer stuff. So with the new image library, the smaller ones are now the same size as the big ones. So that would be the one thing that you would have noticed with the new image library. No more small images. The images now take up the whole box, image box. While we were doing that, we decided to standardize all the images. What does that mean? Well, somebody submitted an image that was very high resolution and took up this much space, even though we only need this much space. But this is what went into the library. We had images that were 10 megabytes in size. And if it's that big, it takes up a lot of room, but room is not the issue, but we have to send it to you. And that's where we get a performance hit with these big images. So all the images were made to the size that they need to be made to give high quality, but take up the least amount of room. And
what's the outcome size? Send you an image.
300 The resolution should be 300 pixels per inch.
Okay, that's pretty standard in publishing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then that's why I do it. Because these images are used for our magazines. So if something's going to go into print, I want it to be at least 300 pixels.
Okay, good.
Okay. We also added internal identification information inside the image itself. You don't see this, but the image file, the beginning of it is called a header that has information about the image. And you can put your own information in there. So we put some information in there that says this image belongs to this ChipGuide item. So if we ever somehow lose that information, we know where it goes. We also made some security updates. I never really was concerned about security, but security is becoming a bigger issue in the industry now. There are people who do it to make money and there are people who do it to be malicious. And there's no money to be had here, so to get rid of any possible malicious activity, all the input coming into the ChipGuide is now scrubbed to make sure there's nothing malicious in it. Okay? So we made some big improvements with this. And for about a week or so, I was putting out fires here and there, but then it seemed to settle down. And I hope the fire that I put out yesterday was the last one associated with the new image library. We also added the Added Today feature. So now on the screen, you'll see it circled or squared in red. You now see all the images, at least the first image, pick one, of everything that was added to the ChipGuide that day. And I think people kind of like to see that. Right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think you ever can get to the point where you can click on the image and to enlarge it?
So if you click on the ChipGuide number,
Yeah?
it will take you to the screen with all the information about the ChipGuide number. You'll see both sides of the image, and if you want to see the larger portion of it, you click on it. So just click on the ChipGuide number. Yes?
Perhaps in the future, there might be a way to click on that image to make the rotation faster.
To make the,
The rotation of them faster. In other words, it's 14 of 50. Maybe-
Oh.
Yeah, just a thought.
okay. All right, but maybe I could just put in previous and next buttons, and that'll do it also.
Yep.
Okay. See, I always carry a pad and a pen because if I don't write something down, it goes into lost memory. Even if my wife tells me what to do, I said, please send me a text because I won't remember.
Well, I'll send it, just add it to the staff.
Okay. So, casino mailers. We get people submitting the mailers that they get from casinos. Come this month, we'll give you $10 of slot credit, kind of stuff. Technically, casino memorabilia, does anybody here collect that stuff? Yeah, I don't. You do?
Tablets.
I do.
You collect the mailers?
Yeah.
Okay. Not very many people do. We've been getting,
Nothing much comes in the mail anyway, it's usually coming in the email.
okay. So we're probably going, a final decision hasn't been made, but we'll probably be, since these are technically not collectible items for most people, we'll probably move them over to the archive, and which the archive is for casino stuff that's not collectible stuff. So you'll be able to see it there. if people are interested in it. But in the future, it'll probably be removed.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
In the archive, do you have like photos of old casinos and things like that?
yes.
Okay, and that's the best place for it?
So
Because I saw that sort of material myself.
when we were getting ready to do a virtual museum, we needed a database to store all the information we put in the virtual museum. Now, the museum would have the same stuff as a chip guide in it, because those are collectibles associated with casinos, but other things like a video of the Riviera being imploded. So the archive was written to have any kind of media that you could see on the internet and associate it, and not just, and associate it with casinos, with people who are involved with casinos, other entities. And it could be associated with more than one entity. So for instance, if there's a newspaper article about police raiding casinos on a certain night in Louisiana someplace, that one article would be one item, but it would be associated with multiple casinos and maybe multiple people involved. So if you look up the person, you'll see the article. If you look up the casino, you'll see the article. And there could be more than one thing. So from the raid, there was an article, there was a picture, and a video. So all that could be one item, and you could view the different media about it and view it from different ways. So that's what the archive is. So here's a list of our administrators. Here's a list of, here's a picture of us either last year or the year before's breakfast. Okay, and now we're ready for pop quiz number 2. Excluding the admins, who has contributed the most items to the chip guide? This is going to be tougher.
Bob Barker.
David Czar.
He's an admin.
John Kalman.
He's an admin.
Greg Sisson.
Admin.
John Benedict.
No. He doesn't know how to, he's the one person who has not figured out how to do a submission. There you go.
I don't need a second one. Are you
So I want to give out a second one. I'm just trying to, who said Bob Baker?
I did.
All right. You got the guy who did the most. For those who don't know, Bob is the slot card guy, and he has or had an incredible slot card collection that he scanned and put up. That's why he's got 25,000
paper too?
and room keys. Okay, so it's time for our announcement. And the announcement is we're making some improvements to the chip guide, and it involves doing a couple of different things. So in order to prepare for the major announcement, it involved rewriting the registration and logon processes. Right now, you submit a form to register for the chip guide. It goes into a queue. When I get a chance, I look at the queue, and if all the information looks right, I approve it. But it's a manual process. It's always required CCA membership, but I didn't really have a good way to validate it. So now with the new logon process, when you register, I now have access to the CCA membership list. And electronically, I will look at the list to see if you're a current member, and then you will get approved for ChipGuide membership. Because of the way it used to be, I only wanted you to be logged on to identify you, to make it easier and better for you to use the ChipGuide. But for the next announcement, I need a better logon process. So the logons are only going to remain active for a week, and then you'll have to log on again. Before, you never really had to log on again. Once you logged on, it stayed logged on. When you register, you're going to fill out the information on the form, hit submit. It's going to see if everything looks right, and if it does, it will then send you an email. And in the email, there'll just be a button that says, press this button to complete the registration. Now we'll know your email address. Okay? That's important. There will also be a password reset. Right now, if you forget your password or it's not working for some reason, you have to email me and we'll get it fixed. It will now be an automated process. You go and press the I forgot my password. You'll put in your club membership number. It will send you an email, and you'll click on the password reset button, and it will take you back so that you could reset your password. Yes?
Are you planning on your password? How complicated will you?
The rules will be there. It'll be like a minimum of 8 characters, an uppercase and lowercase, and the standard kind of thing. Okay. Oh, and the passwords will be encrypted. In the beginning, I didn't really think about it. We don't have any money to protect. I just want to know who you are. But what I came to realize is people use the same passwords on all their websites. So if I could see your password that you use with your email address and your if I was of a particular mind, I would then go to PayPal right away and try to log on with your email address and your password.
Trust, this is just a long-term scam on your part, right? I mean, it's like 15 years.
Yeah. I spend 5 hours a day every day of the year just to, for 20 years, just to eventually be able to do this. But now these passwords will be encrypted, so nobody will know them. And what happens is we take them and we scramble them up and we store them. And when you log on and you give a password, we scramble it and then we test the 2 scrambled passwords together. So we never know, excuse me, Mike, we never know what the password is, okay? Now, that'll keep you safer because there are people who will use the same password for multiple sites. I think I said all that. When you log on, we're going to check your CCA membership status. Now, I'm announcing this today. This is the formal announcement. It doesn't go into effect until August 1st. Why 6-week delay? That's because we're changing the ChipGuide. If you're a CCA member, a current CCA member, you have full access to the ChipGuide the way you have it today. If you're a guest, you're not a CCA member, then you only will have basic function. What does basic function mean? It's pretty much a ChipGuide the way it was when we got the ChipGuide. So you'll get a map. You'll be able to click on a state, see all the casinos in the state, and click on a casino and see the items in the casino. But you won't have the search functions. You won't have my collection. So we looked at each function of the ChipGuide, and we said, is this basic function or advanced function? The ChipGuide members, the CCA members will get everything, And if you're not a CCA member, then you'll only get the basic functions. I think I have a list. So this is what it'll look like. If you're not logged on and you go over to search, all the ones in red, you'll see what you're missing, but you won't be able to click on those. So you'll still be able to look at personal chips and win cards. Okay? And here's a full list of everything that we decided would be advanced function or basic function. So the ones in white are the basics, and the ones in red are the advanced. Okay? So why did we give 6 weeks? We gave 6 weeks because if you're using my collection, we don't want you to lose your information. We want you to sign up, become a CCA member, and you won't lose anything. Okay, so we gave more than ample time to allow anybody who's using the advanced functions today to be able to sign up, become a CCA member, and then continue to use everything that they want to use. Yes?
Two sort of related questions. One, will you be monitoring expiration dates for members where it'll expire unless, or would you check renewals?
So absolutely, when you log on, we're going to check your membership status. Okay? So, and that's once a week. So that'll be at least once a week you'll have to log on and we'll check your status. Okay?
And you compare that with your
Right.
active or inactive.
You know,
CCA.
so if you try to log on and your membership expired since your last log on, you'll get a message that says your membership expired. And we will not delete anything. We will keep your account there. You just have to renew your membership and then you'll be able to log on again.
And a related question, what about associate members in terms of what?
Same as a membership,
Same as?
right, as long as they're a current associate. Okay? Good questions, thank you. So these are all the different things that I had to do to make this work. Also, when you log on, I'm going to capture your web address. It's called an IP address. It's where you are on the internet. If you come in with a different web address, if you try to log on from a different web address, we're going to log you off your current web address. And you're going to have to log on again. So that will prevent anybody from sharing their IDs with somebody else. Okay? It'll also prevent, there's something called IP hijacking. Somebody trying to take over your use of the computer. So it's another security measure. Okay, I think I spoke about all these different things. So I did anticipate there would be some frequently asked questions. Why are the changes being made? The CCA Growth and Membership Committee interviewed a lot of people inside the club and outside the club. And the people outside the club said, you guys are nuts. You have a great asset and you're giving it away for free. We would gladly pay to use the ChipGuide. So this is a way to increase CCA membership, which could use a boost. Yes?
Do you know how many people who are non-members actually do the ChipGuide? Any
No.
idea?
We will have a real good idea pretty soon. But right now, we
Can I
don't.
make a recommendation? If there is somebody who is not a CCA member, but wants to be able to use it, do we have the option to be able to say, I don't know, $20 a year if you don't want to join the club?
We had that conversation, and the way it went is we don't want to make things more complicated. We don't, you know, I thought you were going to lead to, can we give you a sneak preview for a week? Give you a log on that'll last for a week so you could see what you might be missing. That's a possibility. We could do that.
Yeah. How about a site map? not a member, in the machine, your program will say, please join, can you provide?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
access To the website?
Now, if you're not a member, you may get ads pop up.
Membership application.
Okay. You said nay.
The facility's there. I haven't made it, and it's been talked about. I've got 6 weeks to make that happen, okay? But I don't want to, I have to do it in a way that's, maybe every 10 requests that you make, you'll get a pop-up ad or something like that. I don't want it to come up every time you do something. All right. You don't lose anything from my collection. Everything stays. We don't get rid of anything. If you currently have a ChipGuide account, do I have to register again? You do not have to register again, but what's going to happen on August 1st is all the passwords are going to expire. And you'll have to get a new password because we have this new encrypted password process. And in order to make that happen, you have to reset your password. You'll be able to use the same password, but you'll have to just go through the password reset process again, okay? And that'll be, you'll get a message, your password expired, click here, you'll get an email, click on password reset, put in your password twice, and you're done. Okay?
Charles, your email for this can be different than the email that's on file with the CCA, is that
Yes.
correct?
CCA doesn't have a real need for emails. They ask for them. I think they use emails for the newsletter that goes out, but not everybody signed up for it. So I really can't rely on the CCA emails. Okay, so when you register for the ChipGuide, you give it an email, and that's the one we use. So if you're trying to log on and you have a problem, because we're telling you you don't have a current CCA membership, then you need to contact the CCA membership officer to get that fixed. What happens, I'm going to be using exactly the same list that the CCA membership officer is using. So it'll be updated daily. So there's a 1-day delay. Because it's not a database, it's a Excel spreadsheet. So once a day, I will be pulling down the Excel spreadsheet and populating a database with the current membership information.
So that means that if you lapse and renew, you lapse, you've been kicked out of ChipGuide, basically, you renew, you better expect to be at least 24 hours before you get back in. And it's 24 hours minimum, but it could be longer if the membership officer is on vacation or something and doesn't have direct access to plugging in your renewal.
Correct.
All right.
So is there anything you need to do now? If you're a current CCA member, no. If you're not a CCA member, then you need to sign up and become a CCA member. So we've got some time. I know you have a lot of questions and so forth, but before we start, something else I want to talk about. When I mentioned I want to use you as a test audience for something. We know that membership in the CCA has been declining, and we don't see a change in that. I imagine in 10 years we'll still have a convention. I don't think it's going to be what we have today. So how does the CCA grow and become a bigger and better organization? And we've talked about having a physical museum over the years, and we always found reasons why not to do it. We don't have any employees. We don't know how to deal with employees. If you have a physical museum, you need employees. That was an obstacle. Who's going to run it? We need an executive director. That's, at least an executive director to be an employee. We got to pay a salary. Can we afford that? So we always had reasons why not to do it. But lately, we've been getting a lot of good information and advice. We have a new board member on the Museum of Gaming History, and she brings in a wealth of information and contacts in Las Vegas. The reason we had the mayor at the banquet is because Paula is a personal friend of the mayor for 40 years. We now have the mayor of Las Vegas committed to see us open up a physical museum.
That's fantastic.
This is our best opportunity. And a casino museum would attract far more than casino collectors. Now, casino collectors are a part of the casino museum, the memorabilia from casinos, but there's a lot of other elements in casinos other than the collectibles. The things that made them famous, the things that the people, the vast majority of the population thinks of when they think of a casino. They think of the games. They think of the meals that they've had there. They think of the shows that they've seen. They think of the events associated with casinos. So a casino museum would embrace all of that, of which casino collectibles is a part of. So we're not diminishing casino collectibles, but we're trying to embrace a larger audience that would bring us into a successful organization, one that can grow for the future. So now these I've had some conversations, but these are the thoughts that I'm having right now about where do we go from here. And
Consider, this, I'm just being a little facetious, but you consider contacting somebody in an organized crime, just as a historian type of aspect?
we actually, in the current magazine, have an ad out for a curator for the museum, curator, executive director. So we're trying to make this happen.
Why wouldn't like a Caesars or a prominent casino sponsor, give us 100,000?
And we don't want that. Because if we get Caesars, then MGM comes in, well, the Caesars are running the show, I'm not going to be involved. So they could be sponsors. They could perhaps have a seat on the advisory board or something like that, but we can't base it in one casino because then the other casinos will stay away.
Yeah, when an organization I was involved with, which is all technical, we had like diamond members, and they would pay a certain amount of money. So they'd, get their names up there, but there would be like 20 of them or something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, having somebody with the influence like the mayor is somebody who can make the casinos see the value in having a casino museum.
Yeah, in this instance, the mayor grew up here in Las Vegas. She went to high school with some of these casino owners, and she knows them, and so that's helpful. But we'd be happy to let these casinos name a wing for some money.
Right. So those are my ideas. What do you think about that? Does that make sense?
Super.
I don't, I love this organization. I want to see it. Excuse me?
You could get a good location for that.
Now, one of the hindrance was, where do we do this? We looked at a spot in the Stratosphere. We looked at another place at Circus Circus. a space that became available. And they were beyond our means. We have to find something within our means. And Paula, who's a lifelong resident here as well, said, you know, the Neon Museum started out as a junkyard. And it's moved several times as it became successful and expanded. You can't expect to start at the top. You got to start with what you can afford. And if it's successful, move and grow. So that's what we're looking to do.
Do we have a square footage that would be the sweet spot to start with?
No.
Not really.
We have one.
Like square footage, like were you looking like a 5,000 square feet? Were you looking at something bigger?
We had an industry consultant help us at one point, but what she helped us do is plan a mob museum.
Which we already have. Damn good.
I'm saying something of the order of a mob museum.
That's huge.
That's, yes, bigger than what we can afford. We have to find a space that we could do something with and then figure out what we can do with it. Okay?
There are people like myself who are life members of the Museum of Gaming History. Have we put together, at least starting to think about like a benefactors, people who are willing,
Absolutely.
like myself, who would be willing to put out annually or at one time larger payment basically to back this up?
So one of the things that consultant told us when we had when we engaged her is that museums can't expect to exist on the admissions from people coming in to see the museum. You'll have bad months and good months. You can't close the museum because you had a bad month. You have to rely on benefactors and sponsors. That's where you cover your operating expenses. So yes, we have thought about that. Thank you.
Actual chips or just great looking pictures of chips taken from our website?
Now, we have,
Because otherwise donations you could send out and request.
the MOG actually has a collection, and every year at the convention we show part of that collection. This year we're showing decanters with a casino theme in it. So we have a storage locker, and half of the storage locker is filled up with equipment, and half is donations from collectors that make up the MOG collection. So we will have real stuff to show, not just pictures to show. And when we do an exhibit, Jim is a genius at finding people who have the stuff that we need and getting them to loan it to us for an exhibit. So we'll be able to get stuff that way as well. But if we open up a casino museum, don't expect just to see chips. If we do, we'll close next month. It's got to be stuff that attracts non-collectors.
Yeah, broad audience.
Right. If people heard there was a casino museum in Vegas and they got interested, we have to figure out what would make them come back a second time. If they went to see chips, some will come back, say, oh, those are really neat, I'd like to collect them, and come back a second time. 99 of 100 people would never come back a second time.
Once a year have like an antique show. Bring your chips and come into the museum, pay whatever, and show us your chips and have somebody.
We could, yes, we could have an evaluation table, like Antique Roadshow.
Charles, are you looking at, this is probably oversimplifying, but something on the order that the Legends Museum in Tropicana did, back when, or how would it differ from that?
Yeah, I kind of saw the Tropicana Museum, that was the Legends,
Right, yes.
as more of a gift shop with a little display.
Gotcha.
We're not going to be that.
So this is more historical and
And,
a real museum.
right.
Gotcha, okay.
So,
as a non-block member also, I've always been a little bit skeptical about brick and mortar because of all the logistics, the expense, the expertise required. But the comment you made a while ago about the Neon Museum, I love the Neon Museum, and I go every year, never gets old. It seems like I read they're gonna move again to try to get into a better area.
Mhm.
It does seem to me that it would be a perfect tie-in if we could somehow have an association there. You're getting to see the signage, then you come into our museum, you see videos, you see pictures, you see chips from those exact signs.
We did have an exhibit for many years at the Neon
Yeah,
Museum.
saw it.
So we
Several
do,
times. We've been with them several times.
Right.
They changed management and they went in different directions, but we can go back and talk to the new
Yeah,
management.
if we could somehow, if we were gonna brick and mortar, if we could somehow have some type of association where, as they exit our facility, they could go into the signage, or as they exit the signage, now you come in and look at what the buildings look like. and that kind of thing.
Okay, so one other additional thing, and it's been several years since this was stated, but we are connected with the Mob Museum. When they want to change one of their exhibits with a new thing, and they're looking for something, they'll contact me and say, hey, your collectors have this. You know, they're interested in buying, but they're also interested in holding, receiving a loan. And so we've met with them over time, both their CEO and their curator, essentially, are members of the Moog Advisory Board. Okay, they said when we were going through the museum research with this consultant, we held a 2-day meeting at the Mob Museum in a conference room, which is available to the Museum of Gaming History. They said we would love to have the Moog in their parking lot next door to them. They see us as complementary to what they do, not in conflict with what they do. And like I said, that was years ago, but it's still the same people that are involved. And so if we mature this, you know, we can go back and talk to them again. Who knows what can happen, all right?
But I
The
do think
city
you need
has
an
been making-
association.
Pardon?
I do think you need an association like that,
Oh, yeah.
for us to get off the ground and get running.
Right, well, that's part of why we have the advisory board. We, you know,
Mark Hall
Bob
Patton.
Stodel, if you've ever seen any of the documentaries on Las Vegas, they always interview Bob Stodel. He's on the advisory board. He was out here yesterday morning. And great historian on all the PBS shows when they talk about early days of Las Vegas. So yes, we have these connections, but we don't have the building, nor do we have the direct plan to go there, but we have these people available to us to help us. And so we maintain those connections.
right. So those were, I would say, content of the museum experts. And what we were missing is the financial connections. And now with the mayor's support, we'll go a long way towards helping us with the financial part of it.
I also am looking at reaching out to Clark County commissioners. Now that we reached out and got the
Proclamation.
proclamation, they basically said, you've been doing this at the South Point for 15 years, and this is the first time for a proclamation, so I want to engage with them a little
Okay.
bit more.
All right. Any comments about the casinos? I'd like to get back and answer some ChipGuide questions.
Sorry, just a real quick question. So you started talking about the club and organization and what we do and how big it is, and then we started talking about the physical museum. Is the idea that the physical museum is gonna boost club membership?
Well,
I think that the general idea is that all CCA members by default are members of the mode, and that I don't see changing.
No, I understand that, but our club has, from its peak of 3,000, shrunk down to 1,000. And I think, maybe I was inferring the wrong thing from what you said before, that in the future, that direction probably is not changing. Maybe
For collectors.
for collectors. Is the idea that our organization would now be a museum organization, or
Hopefully. And the collectors will be a part of it, a big part of it. But I think everybody, does anybody collect more than just casino stuff? What do you collect?
Old Universal Monsters.
How is that organization working?
Actually, it's really, it's just a.
Pretty scary.
There are horror conventions throughout the world. And in fact, I'm going to one in August. And they have people like Carla.
Okay, I'm talking about collectors.
There are tens of thousands, but actual things like this, a little bit different, no.
Most collector organizations are worse than us. If you collect model trains,
Yeah.
coins, stamps, all those are in really bad shape and going away. Okay? It's just the generation, two generations have grown up with what they play with is electronics. And when the new electronic model comes out, the old one goes in the garbage. There's no value to it. So they don't collect. Okay?
How do we draw younger people in? 'Cause
We have a casino museum. As long as you're 18 years old.
Every
You
organization is asking the same question.
Yeah.
Every organization.
Yeah, they're all graying out.
Okay? So now, until a few days ago, I didn't have a better vision. Now I have a better vision of where to go. ChipGuide questions.
Is there a plan between now and August 1st to put some sort of banner to give the people that are going into the chip guide today some information about things are going to be changing, so it's not like everybody's using
Okay.
it, using it, and August 1st, oh shit, the world's changed.
All right, so later today on the chip guide, we will make this announcement. We'll make it on the club message board, and the other message boards the set collectors use will make the similar announcement. But I like your idea. We do have a banner feature on the chip guide, and I can activate that and let them know. Starting August 1st, you need to be a CCA member in order to access the full chip guide. Good idea. Thank you.
Is it possible for the life members to stay permanently on, rather than log in on every week? If you're a life member, you're not going to expire in theory, you know, I'll say. No, the IP check. That's IP checking is what's going to
Yeah,
stop
it's a
that.
security situation.
Yeah,
So that
because
you're not
ultimately he
sharing
doesn't want
access.
everybody's personal
No, but let Charles work
IDs.
that out.
I'll think about it. At the administrators' breakfast, they brought up with, we're an administrator, it's in the database. One of the things that we have associated with each person is what their role is. I'm a member, I'm an administrator, I'm a webmaster, okay, or I'm a guest. So for the administrators, we're not going to require them to log on every week. We're going to keep their logons active. I have to think about life members, okay? But again, if I don't write it down,
But also think about any website that we use. Is there any website that you don't have to log into once in a while? Amazon, anything? It's not unreasonable to log in once in a while.
And I think that systems that allow you to stay logged on get antiquated very quickly. I think the whole world is, I mean, typing in a password, you do it 50 times a day.
okay?
I think we've got to.
Well, your browser remembers your password, so it's not really a big issue.
Just be looking towards the future. I think
Right.
we've gotten where we
Okay.
off because we liked what we had and people got comfortable with it and nobody likes change, and so we just leave it there.
And
Well,
copy and paste
there
the
was-
information to other websites, other chip websites. There's still people that ask, oh, I can put my collection, I've been a member for years. Really? That's a function? I can put my collection in there?
Maybe I'll do another magazine article on my collection, let people know about it.
The passwords I really know nothing about, so, but we have sites that will bookmark your password if you put in your login name.
Yeah,
That it'll remember it, and that's all you gotta do is put your login name.
it's the browser that remembers.
So, okay, that's,
Yeah, that makes it easy. You don't have to.
okay.
Charles, I'm going to spitball something at you, okay? I'm constantly finding new things that you can do on the chip guide that I didn't raise that I realized I could do previously. Have you ever considered maybe putting together a YouTube video or so that could be linked from this, or could be linked from a website, that would show you basically like the basics? How do you do this?
They did that.
There are a few of them out there. I don't know if we have them.
Do they have a link directly from the?
I don't think they have a link, but there are some YouTube videos, so I like the idea.
If nothing else, maybe a link.
If you actually go to the club's YouTube channel, there's a few videos. I'm the admin for the club's YouTube channel. If it's not there, we can put a playlist together, because it's a mix. All the videos there are mixes of recordings of these. We got, Steve Pasalacqua gave me a recording, if you haven't seen it, from 1993, from the first convention.
Yep.
All that stuff. So right now, the way YouTube works is kind of like in the order that you uploaded it, but you can create a playlist. If we don't have it, we can create a playlist of chip guide related how-to videos, and then if you have those,
Okay.
we can link to them.
It's a to-do on my list.
I just want to thank you for all the work
Yeah,
that
thank
you've done.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I appreciate it, but I have to tell you that I just love doing this stuff.
That's wonderful.
So my first job with IBM, the branch manager told the entire branch, over 200 people, if you don't love coming to work every day, I want you to come see me and we'll get that fixed. Because you love what you're doing, you're not working. You love what you're doing. So I love it.
I think you've done a terrific job, so.
Thank you.
And all the people involved, of course. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a beautiful site.
Well, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the convention. Go to the